welcome back to Brebeuf for another home game for Indianapolis Red. Our home team, the Indianapolis Red, takes on the away team, New York Gridlock. Today, we are partnering with Big Brothers Big Sisters of Central Indiana. Big Brothers Big Sisters of Central Indiana strives to create and support mentoring relationships that ignite the power and promise of kids in our community. Every young person is looking for someone to listen to them, encourage them, and stand by their side. With hundreds of kids in Central Indiana waiting for a mentor, you have what it takes to support a young person by hanging out with them twice a month, and Big Brothers Big Sisters will be there to help you along the way. Visit bebigforkids.org to learn more and take the first step today. Thank you to all of you who are here today.
Good morning. It's May 31st. It's the end of the month, and for one of the two teams here today, it's the end of their season. We're here with the Premier Ultimate League contest between the New York Gridlock at the Indianapolis Red. As always, I'm Charlie Lowe, and with me is Kristen KK Kovic. KK, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Good morning.
We already said it, but it's kind of the truth of today. It's a big fat steak dinner for both of these teams. Win, you're in. You're going to the playoffs as one of the representatives from the North Division.
That's right.
Lose, you've got a game next week to really go end your season the way that you want to, I think.
Yeah. And you really have to dig deep mentally in order to do that. So this is a huge game for both teams. The winner goes to championship weekend.
Championship weekend Red. First time last year making it to championship weekend in kind of the adjusted format over the last couple years. We know that they want to go back. You can see it in the roster construction. Gridlock kind of used to being there. You know, it's one of the, they're kind of a we expect to be there team. So this is kind of an interesting position for both of these teams to be in.
Yeah. And I was looking at the stats last night, which is so nice to have this year. And their stats are actually quite even, which actually makes sense to me. I think based off of like the win-loss ratio for both teams, I think that this is going to be a really nice even matchup. So I think that one of the things that we're going to be looking for is for Red to be able to convert when they get a defense, and for New York to be able to keep as many clean holds as possible.
Absolutely. The last time that we were here, the Red played this super interesting game where they had no shortage of opportunity to create blocks, to get blocks, and to create breaks. They were forcing Philly to turn it over. We've seen the Red execute on a much higher level since that game. You can tell that they kind of, learned their lessons, took their lumps, and really turned it around. But execution is kind of the name of the game, and one of the things that I haven't had a chance to ask Coach Brittany Taylor, Coach BT, about this, but that Coach Sam for the Red pointed out to us is this is the least wind the Red have faced all season.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, it's a really nice day. It's going to get pretty hot. I was out there on the turf just for a moment, and it was pretty steamy.
Yeah, it's you don't have the wind to cool you off, but you don't have the wind to bother your throws, and that's kind of the devil's bargain that we accept on a gorgeous day like this. Looking on the other side, as far as an execution standpoint is concerned, BT told us to look out for Abby Hecko to have a really big execution day. I got a chance to go down on the sideline and watch both of these teams warm up a little bit, and Abby, I think, had that kind of look in their eyes of I'm just here to play Frisbee, and I happen to play Frisbee at one of the highest levels of any player in the league. That's kind of a scary thing when you're a defensive player on the other side lining up against that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you want your team, your players to play loose, to play free, to play for the love of the game, to have a good time, because that's when they play their best, when they aren't bogged down by pressure.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll do our best not to harp too much on the pressure of today because I think it speaks for itself, but KK, have you played in a situation like this before? What was that like for you?
I think I've played one game that I can remember. I have a bad memory, but I remember one game when I was playing for Steamboat, and we were playing a ranked mixed team of some kind, and we were not ranked. and we were down by 2, and we ended up winning that game with 2 breaks.
Huge.
Which I had never done before. Like, beat a team of that caliber when we were down. I mean, that was like my first taste of that kind of competition.
It's I think the most exhilarating place to be in sports. Everyone loves to just know, hey, guess what? Our season's locked up. We're good to go. We're in the playoffs. We have this game to make adjustments. I think this is the kind of game that not only tests your ceiling, but tests your floor, where, hey, what is our lowest level of execution? What is when we just need to lean, we get to do, and can we do that better than the other team? I think that, weirdly, there's a level of pressure that gets taken off there. But it'll be interesting to see today how these players handle that kind of pressure. Who's feeling it and who's, just out here to play Frisbee.
It's very true. I mean, you can tell when pressure is starting to get into someone, weasel into someone's brain a little bit. It shows in the way that they play. It shows in their risk taking. It shows in what kind of choices that they're willing to make. And I think that the choices for today, we're probably going to see a lot of hooks. I think that Indy Red has unlocked the cheat code for Eileen Beckett. They realized, we can just hook it deep to Eileen, and Eileen can sky almost everyone. I mean, I don't think I've seen Eileen get beat in the air by anyone just yet, as far as height goes. And then you have other people like Jazerski, who also wants to look deep, to Hecko, who's fantastic in the air. So we're going to see some really great matchups today.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think you could be more right. You're talking about players that we're looking to show up. Coach Sam told us number one player that he's looking to have kind of a big day, because they've been pretty vocal about it since the practice yesterday, since team dinner last night, and warm-ups today, is McKenna Mattimore. And I think that it almost feels like a cop-out answer, because I think that we've seen through this season and over the course of the last couple seasons, she's kind of like the lifeblood of this red team.
Yeah, she runs on a high spice level. Hot, spicy. Four peppers.
Like a ghost chili out
Yes, exactly. So she really does infuse that energy into the team. Doesn't matter what's happening on the field. It doesn't matter what the score is. Mac is always there to infuse energy.
And I think that today is a great kind of day to see this. The best players go out and channel their emotions positively into their team. The worst thing that you could have is a player whose energy is palpably down. For any of you watching at home who are fans of the NBA or men's NBA, depending on your preferred way to refer to it, watched that happen last night with Chet Holmgren, whose energy was just kind of bad because every time he stepped onto the court.
Or tennis last night. Did you watch tennis last night? Because there was some.
That match between Tiafoe and.
Yes.
Oh, I do not remember his last name.
Start with an F. Fia.
Yeah.
Fia something. Yeah. Anyway, you could tell. I mean, it's like you can see it in their face. You can see it in their body language. And it makes a huge impact because it actually fires the other person or team up when they see the other team and their head is down. So you'll see a lot of teams, if they're down in point score, sometimes they'll put their hands up in the air to remind themselves and to remind their teammates to keep everything up, their hands up, their heads up, even when things aren't necessarily going their way.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with the first poll of this game between the New York Gridlock and the Indy Red. Today's game is presented by Tomio Media, delivering high-quality storytelling for Indy Red on and off the field. Discover what Tomio Media can do for your brand or team at tomiomedia.com. We are also brought to you by City Yoga. City Yoga School of Health and Yoga is a locally owned yoga studio nestled in a peaceful residential neighborhood in downtown Indy. Take a break from the grind and focus on your well-being this summer. Use code RED25, all lowercase, at checkout and enjoy your first yoga class free. Scan the QR code to book. If you are enjoying today's stream, please consider donating at indyred.org or by scanning the QR code. Indy Red is a 501c3, and all donations go towards player pay and travel costs. Continue the fire at Wildfire Tap. the ultimate spot for great food, competitive pinball, Sunday jazz night, and Tuesday open mic. Check out more events on Wildfire's IG. We're back. Getting ready for first pull between the New York Gridlock and the Indy Red. Looking forward to this contest, I think. It's going to be a really great opportunity for us to see teams that both in the offseason went out and kind of got talent. Or had their talent step up in a big way for them. You know, looking at this New York roster, it's hard to ignore some of the names. You know, when you're, you know, when what, like, names that jump off the page are players like Abby Hecko and Grace Connerly and Sadie Jazerski.
Jolie Krebs. You know, let alone when you creep down the roster, players like Ronnie Shaw, a former breakout player of the year in the, you know, in the college division. You know, Edie Lamb, one of the players who really helped kind of Tufts enter this like hyper competitive landscape in the last few years, fresh off of semifinals appearance. Not Edie themselves, but, you know, you're starting to see more of this. Meanwhile, on the Red roster, you know, we're getting some of these players who have been, you know, mainstays across the PUL. We've talked about this a little bit. You know, picking up players like Eileen Beckett and Lena Montenegro make huge differences when you're, you know, coming into a game like this where there once upon a time might have been a talent disparity. Also noticeable that we don't have Cartagena here for New York, who, is she here?
I don't think so.
Okay, yeah, so that's huge. I mean, Cartagena has like the most touches for New York, even though they're not here. So
first pull is up. Grace Connerly, first throw, backhand. Edie Lamb sprinting down the field. And what an incredible bid, heroic almost, and comes up just a little bit short. Red's defense is going to get the first opportunity here.
Interesting play call to get it started right out the gate.
I like it. I think that it's kind of a, let's establish our will, because if that works, how crushing is it to let up a one-throw standstill huck?
And the strategy to make Red work it all the way upfield for a score.
So Red inflow early. Eileen Beckett back to Lizzie Tilden. And I understand that look. I don't love the execution, though. Red coughing the disc right back up. Going to be about 10 yards outside of the end zone. The Gridlock are going to get another take at this.
Like I said, I think they're going to be looking for Eileen all day. It's just a matter of putting it into a spot where Eileen can go and get it.
There's something to be said about expecting an environment to be a certain way, and I almost wonder if that throw was calibrated for, like, wind. It needed to be about a couple seconds later.
Right, it's true. Yeah, it's going to be a little floatier. Things are going to go a little farther today.
Gridlock offense already doing a great job of spreading out, and there she is again. Grace Connerly ripping it downfield. This one's going to sit up a lot and give New York plenty of time to get up and underneath it. Back to Connerly in the middle of the field. OI flick around, and that's a goal for the New York Gridlock.
Well, I think we saw our first look on strategy for New York for their O-line today. So Red's going to have to adjust.
So that was Grace Connerly to Edie Lamb. Easy goal for the New York Gridlock. They're going to go up 1-0. Dirty hold to start the game. If you're the Red, you're feeling good about going out and getting that kind of a block, kind of an earned opportunity early, not a block throwaway.
Yeah, I think any chance you can get. Like I said earlier, Red's challenge here is going to be able to convert breaks.
Yeah, the going 0-1 on break chances in the first point of the game. On the one hand, you got the break opportunity. This is where, though, it's important to recognize that, you know, great players are going to calibrate, and they're going to calibrate quickly. We saw that change in that second throw from Connerly. Had a lot more loft to it. It sat up, it slowed down, but still stayed out in front of her teammate. And Red players already kind of trailing, no opportunity to go make a play on that disc, and then it was just as easy as dump it. Big old flick to space, easy goal.
Yeah, Red was on their heels, so they're going to have to figure out how they're going to want to position themselves to force New York to do what they want.
And the pull is up. Tilo centering to Laura Garanser, LG from here on. LG not liking a lot of what she's seeing. There's our first look today at Rachel Mast. Gets the disc on the far sideline. Disc ahead to Tilo, moving with some pace. There we go. Red offense settling a little bit more into some of the swinging, trying to find these yardages, trying to find these open looks that we're a lot more used to seeing. Short window there to Tilo. Great job from the defender to force her into the short side. Little miscommunication there, but that's okay because it's ahead to Champ, but that's a goal for the Red. Clean hold. We're tied at 1.
So Red coming in with a nice, steady vertical stack. Sometimes I think running vertical can be tough because in certain scenarios you have cuts coming from the front of the stack, and different scenarios you have cuts coming from the back of the stack. And we saw there that there was a double cut to the break side, and it's the back of the stack's job to see what's happening and then to recalibrate their cut.
Exactly right. The Tilo front of the stack. Great job by the Gridlock to force Tilo into the inside space. Tilo then just getting the disc around to Rachel Mast from the front into that double cut area that you were talking about, but then Champ just breaks free from the end. No one in the area. We're home free. That's an easy hold. So we're here. This next pull is going up. Back to Connerly in the middle of the field. And Gridlock setting up their offense. A little bit of a horizontal stack. Throw is deep to Hecko. Roofs their defender. Then we're back to Eddie Lamb in the middle of the field. And that's
Hecko,
exactly what you're talking about. Hecko.
Such a great target. Can read the disc. Jumped over her defender.
We're having a stoppage on the field here. Offense getting back in flow. There's Hecko. Back to Krebs. Throws just a little bit too far for Connerly. Connerly, no stranger to throwing her body around to make a play, save a play.
Red here with a break chance. As their squad gets set up in a vertical stack. And Lexi saves it, digs it up out of the ground.
What a dig.
New York is calling it down, maybe.
They call it down. I think all the players stopped, waiting for there to be everything to resolve.
Oh.
Jolie took the opportunity to reclaim a little bit of space. There's a flick over to the side. Risa doesn't like it. Red, take the early timeout. They know how important it is to go and get these break opportunities. So using this early moment to get an offensive line in and see if they can march the remaining, what is that, 40 or so, 60 or so, 50 or so?
Yeah, especially since when the O-line went on, they had a clean hold. So they're feeling it right now. Things are feeling good. And D-line, when they had a break opportunity, they weren't able to punch that in. So I think it's a great choice to put in their O-line to get this one early on. Yeah,
my heart and soul lies with the D-line, and I would hate this because I'm like, I know we missed the last one, but we're going to go 1 for 2. If we're shooting 50% of the field, guess what? We're going to the Hall of Fame in either NBA. But,
yeah,
this is why we have this rule here in the PUL, and it's going to be, I think, honestly, a great bit of coaching from head coach Jackie Lai, and a well-prepared O-line is going to go out there now and get a chance to kind of really establish their will early. Not a lot of adjustments, notably, though.
New York is poaching in the lanes, so Red will need to work handlers, see if LG and Tilo can work together with Champ.
And Gridlock respond with a zone look. A little bit of a 3-3-1. Sadie Jezierski playing monster in that deep space.
Big monster.
Big monster. Sadie, you can't call Sadie a sneaky anything because at this point she's such a well-known quantity.
Absolutely. Her defense is immaculate. I mean, her layout bids, she'll come out of nowhere.
So in this kind of chess match that we've got going, what this really creates an opportunity for from the red is they find LG through the middle is a great opportunity to figure out how is your O-line going to respond to his own look. And I love that from Squid. Doesn't quite set up and catch that as well as she wants to, so it takes a moment, just dumps it back.
I don't
We just stay in the
hate
zone,
it.
but there it is. Rachel Mass' disc is eaten up by Eli Pressburg. Hecko lays out to save the disc. And the Gridlock with this kind of hybrid line out there, having a chance at offense. Pressburg.
McKenna Mattimore on Hecko and Hecko on Mattimore. I mean, what a matchup. Let's see what happens here as they immediately switch off.
And there's Sadie, big old forehand to the deep space, and that's blocked. And let's see, if I'm the red, I'm kind of rushing to while they're out of position, and it works. Gridlock forced into a person defense. Reigns, back to Mast. Takes the upline, breaks free of her defender, Nikki Hare. Up to Mattimore, highly contested by Pressburg. Doesn't like the forehand downfield. Gets Rachel Mass shaking free. Doesn't take the inside shot. Tilo trying to break free of Hecko. No good, nothing doing. And there's Max skying over Pressburg. That's a goal, and it's a break for the Indy Red. 2-1 over the New York Gridlock.
The spot from Rachel to Mac was only where Mac could get it. I mean, Mac's defender had positioning, but it went up and around in a nice arcing shape.
And that is exactly what you said, KK, and exactly what you want. Red O-line gets to go out, build a little bit more confidence. We saw them earn an opportunity on defense, with a great block in the downfield space, and then watch them kind of learn to pick apart both the person and the junk looks from the Gridlock. It's hard to get a possession that's much better than that, and now you have the break advantage. You're up 2-1.
Defense here is going to have... Did you watch the game against Milwaukee Monarchs?
The first game or the second game?
The second, well...
I did not get to watch the second game. I'm trying to forget the first game.
Because Red's defense was noticeably more effective. Mm-hmm. They were going after plays way more aggressively than we saw them in the beginning of the season. And I want to see how they're going to respond here.
Pull lands. Connerly in the middle to Krebs. And Red countering with a junk look of their own. A little bit slow to get over to the high side of the field and stop those looks, but Gridlock's still forced to swing it to the middle.
New York's moving pretty quick here, which sometimes in a zone can be riskier. If you're trying to snap it back and forth, you have a higher chance of making a mistake. And, of course, we have Annie Mylink up there in the front of the zone, attacking as fast and as quick as she can, trying to get after those defensive plays on the swing.
Yeah, Annie Mylink, we've got Jello, and we've got Berkeley Humphreys attacking.
And that's out of bounds.
Mylink sprints deep, but sure, we're taking our time getting over to the disc for the Indy Red. There's Jello in the middle of the field.
Now we have New York O-line playing defense. And a big huck went up by Jean.
And Grace Connerly comes up with a big block in the deep space of her own.
Annie keeps running deep. She wants it.
Yeah. So here we go, Gridlock. Big crossfield blade. Hecko secures it, no problem, no one in the area. Mylink sets up the zone in front of her. So these Gridlock handlers taking plenty of time, starting to attack with some of these blades, but Krebs finds a soft spot without a player in it. Jean Wong's going to pick up, and we're going to get another opportunity for a break here. Mylink, middle of the field, resets back to Wong, gets a couple yards out of it. Gets Jello coming down out of the middle. We're still seeing this vertical stack. There's Humphreys on the high side of the field. Big old shot. Eileen Beckett's alone. That's a goal. 2 breaks for the Red. We're up 3-1 on the Gridlock.
Look at that. Defense got a chance to punch it in themselves. New York needs a moment to reset. I think that they've been putting up some blades and some kind of wonky shaped throws that are not necessarily landing in the right spot that they want it to.
And look at this offense from the Red. It's all patient throws. It's 10 yards, 10 yards, 10 yards, and then a huge shot from Humphreys over to Eileen Beckett. And those are those are players who are new to being in the starting role or new to this team in general. Berkeley's played around Indy for a while. Bennett Red tryouts, had practice tryouts, etc. with the Red. Beckett, brand new, not new to the league, but brand new to the Red. What an incredible connection between those two players.
As a 501c3 nonprofit, every contribution goes directly toward player pay, travel costs, and community outreach efforts. Your generosity helps make this mission a reality for our athletes and our broader community.
No timeout taken by the Gridlock as the pull goes up. This is the best pull we've seen today. I think the players are calibrating finally and starting to get these going downfield a little bit further. There's Pressburg in the middle. A little bit of a D-line look from the Gridlock with Sadie Jezierski on disc right now. And Sadie's going to do Sadie all the time. Great save from Pressburg.
Yeah, I think sometimes Jezierski has a vision in her head, that's actually quite visionary and really talented, but sometimes the teammates can't quite read what's happening.
It reminds me of some of the early Cavs teams with LeBron, who's this crazy player.
Right.
And would just get the ball to a spot that the players weren't ready to go.
Yeah.
Sadie, I think, just views the game at such a different pace that she's like, I'm going to throw my teammates open and trust them to go get it, which is what you want, especially out of a D-line leader. This is a hold situation, so we'll kind of, we're seeing that it didn't necessarily pay dividends, but that was just because of a drop. Pressburg earns the disc back, streaks downfield.
Risa trying to catch up, but they don't put it, which, man, I if I were New York, I would. And we see it going deep from Jezierski, who's already walking off the field.
Like Steph Curry, like Sabrina Ionescu.
Shooter's going to shoot.
Left her hands, and she said, that's good. I'm going home.
I actually really appreciate the confidence. I mean, that's such a team morale boost if you can exude that type of confidence into your team, and it's so offensive to the other team.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, after that walk-off from Sadie Jezierski, we're going to take a quick break. Indy Red up 3-2 on the New York Gridlock. Today's stream is brought to you by Discraft. The Discraft Ultrastar is the official disc of the Premier Ultimate League. Discraft, the world leader in disc sports. This live broadcast of the Premier Ultimate League is brought to you by Breakmark Ultimate Apparel. Go to breakmark.com to place your next custom team order or check out the PUL Athlete Collab shops. We're back. Just over 2 minutes left in the first quarter. Indy Red leading 3-2 on the New York Gridlock. More importantly, they have a 2-break advantage on the Gridlock right now. Gridlock going to need 2 breaks to get back on serve. Starting deep from their own end zone, we got Rachel Mast.
Looks
near
like
to the high
there
side
was
of the field.
a broken play there at the beginning. New York wanted to kind of poach off the handlers and stop the insides, but left the middle wide open.
LG able to leg that one out. I think this is going to be the kind of day where teams are really going to win with their legs. We're seeing the throws work. We're seeing the throws not work. It's going to be a matter of who can churn the most. And Squid hesitates for just a moment, doesn't like the jump, and that gives Sam Harris an opportunity to get the block on the backside.
That throw just a bit too far because the poaching defender off the back of the stack is almost always going to come and defend that.
There's Pressburg ahead to Shaw. Sends Parrott deep, the fake, and then Pressburg's going to actually reward the deep cut to Parrott. It's going to float up. And that's a block by Tilo, almost saved by the Gridlock. What an incredible help.
New York was really working for position there. I thought they were going to have it for a moment, and then the disc sort of veered off to the right.
Champ showing off that verticality. Long arms, big old vertical, able to secure that disc.
Shaw with great defense on Tilo to shut that down, the reset.
And we're starting to see the effect of some of these players, where some of these cuts are stopped so early that by the time they break open, the player on the other side of the defense is coming out. As we saw it, Rachel Maskett looked off earlier, being guarded by Sadie. Throws Mac open, but throws it too far. That's a turnover. Timeout taken by the Gridlock.
Yeah, I heard a whistle.
I heard a whistle. Guess not.
I think they wanted to get it just in case.
But unfortunately, it's not going to count despite Jolie Krebs celebrating the goal. We heard the whistle go off first and everybody else stopped moving. The Gridlock are going to put their offense in again, and it's kind of like we're playing 21. You got to do a prove it point.
I do think if New York is going to bounce back here, they need to get Jolie involved in a big way.
Absolutely. Jolie Krebs is a high-touch, high-risk, high-reward player, and good things happen when you put the disc in her hands. If I'm New York, specifically if I'm Audrey Parrott and Sadie Jezierski, I think I'm a little bit annoyed with BT and Jenny DeJesus right now because we took care of things just fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on what adjustments New York can make right now to try to claw back?
I think that right now in the first quarter, we got 42 seconds remaining. As far as adjustments go, this is the best one that you can make. Say, hey, we've already seen that we can go put this disc in the end zone. Our biggest thing is that we're not necessarily seeing blocks generated by the Red, though we have had a couple. Most of our consequential turnovers have been throwaways. Throw into spaces where the players aren't quite ready to respond. I think that, you just kind of recalibrate some of those throws, take the extra quarter second to, make that, to execute on that, you're in good shape. Interesting start from the Red. Beckett starting inside of Harris, who's going to immediately streak deep, and Connerly's just going to put it out there.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure about that defensive positioning choice. But I think that they want that one back for sure.
I think that they want that one back. I want that one back.
And
you want that one back.
Sam did a fantastic job reading the defense and being like, they're leaving me wide open to the open side. I'm just going to cut deep. And it worked out for them.
Well, not much you can do with that except kind of wipe your hands of it and say, all right, let's go get that one back. But a very important break earned for the Gridlock, who are now going to get an opportunity to trot another strong line of players out there. Red, O-line back out there with a chance, with another opportunity to kind of right the ship. I don't think either of these teams are really sweating the small stuff right now, but I think those kind of small calibrations are going to be the one that, whichever team's able to start fine-tuning a throw here, changing a piece of defensive positioning there, I think that's going to be the team that ends up on top. Pull goes up from Jezierski. It is towering. It is monstrous. It is horrifying. Going to settle down into Tilo a couple yards outside of the end zone. And you even feel that first throw from Tilo, just a little bit low to LG. You start to feel the effect that pulling has. But we're ahead to Shirley Saunders. Back to Tilo. A little bit of this junk look from the Red. The nice thing about having Tilo being a lefty in the backfield is able to get that much faster flick off through those tight spaces rather than a big wind-up backhand.
Red chiseling right through the holes right now.
And we're going to get our first look at some of these, at one of these end-of-quarter situations because the Gridlock scored so fast. And it doesn't matter because the block gets, Hecko pokes through, gets the block.
Was it in time?
It was. We had
wow.
a second left. Hecko gets that
block. That is so incredibly clutch by Hecko.
Talk about a player, we know from earlier in the game, from our interview with Coach Taylor that they were going to be in kind of a flow state, and Abby showing it right now, disc on the high side of the field.
Let's see if they can take it easy, get as many throws as possible. Jezierski likes to look in the end zone.
There it is, floating it out to Hecko.
Beautifully
and that's
put.
The bookends.
The bookends for Hecko, wow.
And just like that, both breaks earned for the Gridlock, and they end the quarter on top 4-3. And the Red finishing this quarter much the way they felt against Philly, trying to figure out how the heck did we let this end-of-quarter situation slip away from us.
That is a tough ending to the first quarter for Red. And, wow, for New York, to claw back right at the very end there, that's just such big mental toughness.
Absolutely. We're going to take a quick break here at the end of the first. New York Gridlock getting 2 breaks back to be up 4-3 on the Indy Red. We'll see you at the top of the second.
I'm here at the Triangle Ultimate Middle School Championships, where over 30 middle school teams are showing us exactly what the future of our sport looks like. Local, accessible, youth ultimate. At the Ultimate Foundation, we envision a world where everyone has the opportunity to experience Ultimate as a sport that inspires integrity, relationships, and belonging. Founded in 2014, we are the philanthropic arm of USA Ultimate. Our funding priorities are focused on fostering access, growing Youth Ultimate, investing in local communities, and supporting the Girls Ultimate movement and the Del Rico Johnson Fund. Our mission is to fuel a future for Ultimate that is accessible to all backgrounds and identities by supporting USA Ultimate programs, partners, and communities. Let's stop sitting on the sidelines. Let's make the ultimate difference for the next generation.
We're back here in Indianapolis. Indy Red are currently down 3-4 to the visiting New York Gridlock. We are in a win or go home game, and we are seeing the emotional and strategical consequences of that early. Indy Red started, down on serve as normal, quickly tied it up, and then earned 2 breaks. And then we've seen the Gridlock come back to reclaim the lead at 4-3, getting both of their breaks back. We've seen both teams make wonderful usage of their timeout substitutions, and most bafflingly, as the pull goes up from Jezierski, the Red one of those breaks was let off where the Red just gave Grace Connerly a free leading shot to the end zone. So now, opportunity for both teams to kind of recalibrate as we see the Red move the disc ahead to Matamore. Person set from the Gridlock. Big old floating throw. Squid goes up and gets it despite a little bit of contact from Casey Banta-Ryan. Mass doesn't like the tight window, but finds Saunders on the high side of the field. Little shake and bake. And the Gridlock are doing an awesome job of sealing off what would be these huge gainers from the Red.
Yeah, Red is just having to dink it back and forth between top of the stack and handler.
And there it is. Tilo breaks free. Plenty of space. Nice, easy throw. And that's another goal for the Indy Red. We're tied at 4.
I'm not sure if I saw any cuts from the back of the stack. It was all movement from the front of the stack, which I'm totally fine with. I think that's actually a very hard thing to defend, is really tight windows with top of the stack working together with handlers.
And I loved the throw shape on that. It was bladey, so it was going to sit up for just a little bit, but it was to a lane where a player from the Gridlock was going to have to go through Tilo. Tilo, incredible player who uses their body incredibly well to clear space for themselves. Had there been a defender there, I think they were going to make that play safely, but it didn't matter. Like you said, incredibly effective use of space and freeing herself up. So we're tied back at 4 again. We punched back. What are you expecting to see from the Red defense coming out here?
Well, I see Lena Montenegro, who I think had maybe 4 or 5 blocks in the Monarchs game last week. And I think Lena's going to be a huge mark for the handlers on New York, and she's going to be working to get those blocks.
I think I agree with you. Pole lands just inbounds. Hecko's going to be forced to take it off the sideline. Connerly not quite able to shake free. Hecko dropping the disc back to Emma Chin. Gets it ahead to Eddie Lamb. Little bit of a shaky throw out of Lamb's hand. Connerly rips a backhand. And we're going to see what happens. Like this one might sail out of bounds.
Yeah, it looks like the curve is going to take it out of bounds.
Shout out to the observer who decided to show off their athleticism. We appreciate your service, but I think that we're going to be okay. And now everyone's favorite place. Red are going to get to take it from the coffin corner. Let's see if Lena does the thing, and she does. Kick that pylon out of the way. Inside look.
Power position, but not looking deep.
Yeah, great job by Connerly to get a mark on. Great job by the Gridlock defense down.
Wow. Oh, that looked like Risa had stop rotation in her hand, and then when Eddie laid out, it might have knocked it out of Risa's hand, which is exactly what happened. So Red's going to maintain possession.
Yeah, no contest there. I like the way that we resolved that. Let's just kind of go ahead and keep things playing. Another layout from Risa. Goodness gracious, she's earning it today.
I mean, once she hits the ground once, it's just, that's just how she plays after that.
And you start to see how some of these contested catches empower a defense and kind of make an offense more nervous. It's a drop from the Red. Throw downfield. Dropped by Hecko, not able to secure the high throw. We've got a stoppage.
Players out there looking a little tired. I see hands on hips, bending over. Let's see if we get any substitutes. I see.
So Indy Red subbing in Jean Wong and Sadie Jezerski coming in for the Gridlock. Or rather, as we look around the field, subbing out. Subbing in Jean Wong. Lena, disc in the middle of the field.
Eileen did a great job also kind of reading that disc. Made sure that disc was going to stay in Red possession. Timeout call by Red.
I know what's coming. Do you know what's coming?
Hey fans, if you would like to move,
we know what's coming there. KK and O-line's coming in.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, right? Don't you?
I mean, I would. I think in this opportunity, you've got another chance to go get a break.
They're also running end zone at this point. They're so close.
Yeah, 30 yards outside the end zone. It's just on the precipice where you can, especially with a team that does small ball so well, like the Indy Red do, pretty easy opportunity to just kind of work the disc ahead and see if you can't poke it into the end zone.
Both teams get a little break after a pretty long point on the hot turf. You see the sidelines over there. You see more red jerseys. Obviously, New York is traveling this game, so they're going to have less players, less fresh legs. We'll see if that has an impact.
Rachel Mast able to shake free, but LG takes the second look to Champ. Rachel's going to consider downfield, but doesn't get it. Back to LG. Little small ball from LG and Champ. LG putting the Dominator in Dominator right now. Mast doesn't move it ahead to Tilo. Waits for Matamore, who floats it up. Tilo snags, gets toes down, and that's a goal. More importantly, the Red earn one of those breaks back, and we're up 5-4. Indy Red over the New York Gridlock.
It feels like every goal is so critical. That's how it feels right now.
Yeah, I think that this is a game, this is a contest where it's going to be blow, counter blow, punch, counter punch, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth between these two teams. It's less a game of runs and more a game of like pretty intricate chess moves. You're going to have to sacrifice pieces in order to win the game. I'm going to take an opportunity here to shout out some of the people we see in the stands. We've got members from double defending USAU club champions Ann Arbor Hybrid are here in the stands supporting their teammates. We've got members of the Indianapolis Alley Cats here in the stands supporting their their other pro team here supporting the Indy Red.
Local women's club team, Indy Rogue here, who actually practice here in the morning so that they could come here after practice to the game.
Absolutely. So if you're at home watching and you want a chance to meet some of your local club and pro players, consider going to a PUL game or going to a UFA game. You never know who you're going to see in the stands. We're back in action. Krebs staring down this very, very tight Indy Red zone. Collects it back in the backfield. Gridlock content to lose yards for the time being. Hecko on the lower side of the field. Big old blade. And it's going to be just a little much. High pressure plus the high throw, and the Red have another opportunity for a break here. Gene Wong picks up. Centers to the middle of the field to Mylink. Huge gainer to Beckett. One player downfield. Kuznicki's all alone. And Eddie Lamb makes up the distance but can't get the block. Kuznicki brings that one in. That's a goal for the Red. 2 breaks in a row again. We're up 6-4.
Beautiful huck out to space from Eileen where Kuz could get it, swipe it with the right hand.
I love Beckett taking that shot. I think it's so incredibly important for your deep players as we see this happen. Lines it up. Throw is nice and flat and out to space. Maybe a little bit more loft on it than she wants, but it doesn't matter. Kuznicki's got plenty of time to size it up, and Lamb, who's forced to both close the distance and try to go up and make a play, is only able to do one of those things. Credit to the Gridlock's coaching, to their training staff, and to Lamb themselves. They did everything possible, and they almost made a play on that disc.
I'm curious if the strategy there is to force out, to make Indy Red go deep and force Red to try to put it deep and trusting New York players to make a play in the air. Now they realize that Indy Red has the personnel to attack deep, so we might see a different adjustment on defense moving forward.
Speaking of adjustments, slightly different puller from the Indy Red this time and rewarded with a pull that sails high a little bit longer, and we're able to get down and immediately set marks on the Gridlock. Gridlock content to move through their roster between O and D lines as we see Pressburg and Jezierski playing a little bit of catch. Jezierski, a little bit of IO on that throw, sails it to the high side to Krebs. Makes a contested catch over Kuznicki. And then that's a block for Lexi Thomas. I saw the vision from Krebs there, but I think that the execution not quite what she wanted, and we see her already trying to tee up a potential block near the front of the stack. Beckett sizes up another deep shot, doesn't take it to Risa, though. And there's Rachel Graber on the high side of the field. Looks like we're going to get a stoppage, though. Disc is going to go back to Beckett. I apologize earlier. That was Graber downfield getting the block, not Kuznicki. And into double coverage. Who else but Krebs goes and gets it. Right back to Sadie Jezierski. Takes a moment. Finds Pressburg in the middle of the field. Leading pass. High. Floating. Blading down. Krebs. Great toes. Great sky. Despite pressure from the defense. Secures the hold. And that's going to be 6-5. Gridlock just down 1.
Play started to slow down there at the end where New York was just looking deep and Red seemed a little gassed.
Pressburg finds Krebs and Gridlock brings us within 1 point.
It's really, we're starting to get into the point of the season where most players are also playing club. And so they have practice every weekend for whatever teams they're playing for, because a lot of times club and pro are trying to alternate weekends so that they don't interfere with each other, and it's a lot of ultimate all the time towards the end of the pro season.
Yeah, the wear and tear on the legs becomes a real thing, and I think that we heard that from both coaching staffs. The Red had practice yesterday, but got it done early in the day so they could stop, separate for a little bit, then recalibrate, have a team dinner, and relax before they got into action here today. New York
is traveling,
They traveled
yeah.
hard on the body, but took an early opportunity. But there's a throwaway. Pressburg on the sideline, almost behind Shaw, who's able to reach back and secure it. Big swing over to Cassie Brown. Cassie reels that one in. Goes right back to Pressburg.
Cassie played for Chicago for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
In Chicago, I suppose.
Nice,
for Chicago.
nice little blade to Harris, who's going to throw that one just a little bit too far, and that is going to be a turnover for the Gridlock. And the red is going to get another opportunity on O. It was Ashley Wright. They're just a little bit too far for her, not able to secure the disc. Tilo, big old mark from Ronnie Shaw, ahead to Rains. What a fierce mark from Parrott. Able to stop that one from going off from Champ, who wanted it with both the forehand and the backhand. There's Mast. Waits patiently, ahead to Matamore, despite the pressure. And what a goal!
Wow. Sam with the positioning. And Sydney Logren able to get up and swipe it with the fingertips. Great read.
I want to credit the Gridlock here with these adjustments that they're making on defense. They're starting to yield a couple less steps as we see this throw go up from Matamore. Harris is inches away from getting that block, and a credit to Squid, who's able to go up just as strong, secure that disc with two hands despite the high pressure. It's the kind of drop that we see players make a lot of the time because you call it an intimity, right? It's kind of difficult, but what focus shows that the Red are playing at a very locked-in level right now.
I think we're starting to see some kinks in the armor, too, with both offenses. Red's offense isn't necessarily making the clean hold every time, so New York has the opportunity.
Not feeling a ton of that pressure from the Gridlock yet, though we're seeing them content to rotate players in and out on offense and defense. That might be from a roster size perspective, not quite enough for two full lines. But, still doing a good job of getting the right players' touches at the right times. Krebs has to fight off a lot of pressure from Mylink before she finally breaks free on the far side. And there's Eddie Lamb, disc in the middle of the field. To Connerly on the high side. Normally likes that center position a little bit more.
Now it looks like Red is happy to throw their zone to make New York throw as many throws as possible, force them to make short, quick throws.
Short, quick throws paying dividends right now for the Gridlock as they look to pierce through. High pressure from Humphreys, but not able to get a hand on that one. Lamb trying to marshal Chin around for an open throw. Finally finds Connerly.
Red breaks down into a person defense.
And that's already a success from the Gridlock offense. If you can force a team to fire out of their zone look into person, if you feel confident about your matchups downfield, you can start to go to work. As we see Connerly yields a little bit of size to Humphreys, but maybe picking up a little bit in terms of first step quickness. Hecko straight to Beckett. Moves the disc ahead, and the Red are going to get another break opportunity. Back to Wong in the end zone. Up ahead to Jello. Finds Beckett for a huge gainer. Rockets it, but it's going to go straight out of bounds.
I think I've seen this in previous games where Eileen doesn't get square footing before she puts it deep, and her feet come out from underneath her. It's something she's got to work on.
Importantly here, it's going to give a break, an important hold opportunity. It's another missed break chance for the Red. We'll see if they can do it. Berkeley insisting that Connerly go back the extra yard or two.
Wow.
Beckett run through.
She gets it back.
Talk about earning your stripes. Talk about keeping the fire lit. And Humphreys, despite sizing up Beckett downfield.
That's a really good holster. I mean, I know that you want to put it deep to Eileen.
And Kuznicki not able to bring that one in. Eddie Lamb, great pressure, step for step with her.
Yeah, had the look, kind of doinked off the palm there. It's hard to go up with a single hand.
Ooh, and I love Wong going all the way downfield to stop the gainer to Waverka, forcing Gridlock to take a second look. Connerly threatens that backhand as she's been doing all game. Big old swing to Hecko. But there's going to be a stoppage, so the disc is going to return to Connerly. Gridlock got a timeout call in before Connerly was able to get the pass off. So we're going to take a quick break during this timeout. 1 minute 15 remaining in this first half. Indy Red up 7-5 on the Gridlock. We'll be right back. This live broadcast is brought to you by the Premier Ultimate League. The PUL is a 501c6 nonprofit. This league has been community funded since day one, and we are so grateful for the support. We ask that you consider donating to help us continue to transform and fulfill our mission. Head to PremierUltimateLeague.com to donate today. We're back. New York Gridlock currently down 2 to the Indy Red.
New York quick to set up. Kind of in this diagonal vertical stack, which usually means a play off the back of the stack, potentially a double play off the front and the back.
We saw a lot of player rotation.
As we see Pressburg go deep immediately.
Yeah, I really like that look. But I love that sharp throw from Cassie Brown, even more over to Jezierski, who moves it to Shaw. There it is. Big old hammer from Jezierski to the end zone. And able to get a paw on it is Lizzie Tilden, and the Red are going to get another break opportunity despite the shift in offense from the Gridlock.
Get at least one hammer look a game from Jezierski, at least minimum. I think it was about time.
If we didn't, I'd ask for my money back, and I didn't even pay to be here. But there's the throwaway. Pressburg collects it with easy patience, fires a hammer of their own crossfield to Jezierski, able to reel it down over Graber, right ahead. And are the toes in? They are. That's Ashley Wright. Picture perfect toes in the end zone for a goal, and that is a dirty, dirty hold for the New York Gridlock, down 7-6.
You see that timeout really paid off for New York. They got a chance to reset, get some substitutes in, but also some cross-field hammer to open up the field completely for an easy breakside throw.
You know, we talked about the lack of wind earlier as one of the things that, Coach Sam from the Red told us about is this is the least windy game that we've played here in Indy and we've played as a team, and might be the least windy game that the Gridlock have had a chance to play, and I think the players are finally realizing it. We've already seen it with some of the throw shape, but the hammers are coming out now. Players, literally reaching into their toolkit to bust some of these throws out.
I also wonder if maybe there's some coaching going on to remind the team to play loose and free, because that's when players play their best. So we saw two hammers within, a minute of each other, which is, I think, New York playing loose and free.
So with under 30 seconds left, Indy Red are going to try to solve this zone from the Gridlock, and so far doing a great job. Matamore just across midfield up to Jerenser, and now we're going to see them finally settle into this zone look. Matamore content to lose some yards. Challenged by Shaw at the tip of the spear. With 10 seconds left, let's see if the Red can exercise some of the ghosts of the pass and just keep the disc in their hands. Well, there's the scooper from Tilo.
Do you see how New York is setting up? It's a zone look, and with Jezierski deep, so they're forcing Red to do the same thing Red's doing to New York. Small, punchy throws through the center.
There's Champ up to LG, sprints free, doesn't take it, but there's a high crossfield throw. Oh, my goodness gracious. A truck from Pressburg, but Mast is a concrete barrier, secures the disc and the hold for the Red, and we go into half. Indy Red 8, New York Gridlock 6, and the most important thing that happened there was Pressburg talking to Mast afterwards, after the play, being like, hey, want to make sure that was okay, want to make sure I didn't hit you too hard. One of those positions, though, where do you even initiate that contact?
I think it's absolutely up to Pressburg to read the situation, to understand that they're not going to be able to get there in time. And also someone like Mass, who is actually quite deeply respected in the ultimate community, has a great attitude in most scenarios, and I think understands that sometimes contact can happen. So I think it was nicely resolved by both of them.
So in a half defined by punches and counter punches, Indy Red maybe striking one of the most important blows of all so far, withstanding some of the adjustments being made by the Gridlock, sending out different looks to them and maintaining their 2-point and, more importantly, 2-break advantage. We're going into half up 8-6. I think feeling a lot better. We'll talk to you a little bit more here later in the halftime. We'll be right back.
"30 minutes over a cup of coffee. Queens at H5 at the park. Thumbs up emojis, clapping emojis, confetti emojis. Loaded nachos at halftime. A spin dash for the win. Best 2 out of 3. And the time it takes to enjoy a slice or two, you can make a difference. Because yeah, mentorship sounds huge, but the truth is, it takes little to be big."
Today's game is presented by Tomio Media, delivering high-quality storytelling for Indy Red on and off the field. Discover what Tomio Media can do for your brand or team at tomiomedia.com. We are also brought to you by City Yoga. City Yoga School of Health and Yoga is a locally owned yoga studio nestled in a peaceful residential neighborhood in downtown Indy. Take a break from the grind and focus on your well-being this summer. Use code RED25, all lowercase, at checkout and enjoy your first yoga class free. Scan the QR code to book. Everyone's Joy Photography, UIndy sports team photographer and Indy Red's official photography company. Doesn't matter what you need, we got you covered at any event. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, or online at everyone'sjoyphotography.com. Today's game is also brought to you by Tappers. Hey Indy Red fans, when the game ends, press continue at Tappers Arcade Bar, Indy's go-to spot for well-maintained arcade games, craft beer, and great cocktails. Thank you to Pin Vault Indy, Indy's original pinball place. Open to public first Friday and third Saturday. Bookable for your next private party. More info at pinvaultindy.com. Big Brothers Big Sisters of Central Indiana strives to create and support mentoring relationships that ignite the power and promise of kids in our community. Every young person is looking for someone to listen to them, encourage them, and stand by their side. With hundreds of kids in Central Indiana waiting for a mentor, you have what it takes to support a young person by hanging out with them twice a month, and Big Brothers Big Sisters will be there to help you along the way. Visit BeBigForKids.org to learn more and take the first step today. And we're back. Halftime here in this Premier Ultimate League contest. New York Gridlock visiting the Indy Red. Indy Red currently up 8-6 on the Gridlock. Most importantly, as we've said a number of times, Indy Red 2-break advantage over this very, very vaunted Gridlock squad. And to kind of, throw you an easy first pitch here at halftime, KK, how much do you think the Gridlock are missing Yina Cartagena here in this contest?
You read my mind. Cartagena is a steady hand for their offense, where I think Jezierski and Jolie Krebs fit in the role of maybe higher risk takers and shooting deep. So I do think we're missing that steady hand a little bit. I think that Connerly is filling in that role, but not necessarily filling in the role the same way that, if Cartagena was there, as a steady presence anchor, because she is such an incredibly strong anchor for New York.
When you're talking about player positions and how Frisbee is a, arguably a positionless sport, but you've got players who gravitate more to one side than the other. One of the things that happens when you can't bring your full roster to a game is players have to move into different positions. Grace Connerly is one of the fiercest handlers across the league, one of the fiercest handlers that I've ever seen play, and one of the places she's most often deployed and best deployed is on defense, where she's got really, really quick feet, she can close distance really quickly, and she's not afraid to lay out for anything. And then on a D-line, often stacked with your high athlete type players, her grip and rip mentality is awesome because she can get a block, pick it up, and already have somebody streaking deep for her to just loft one out to. Here, where she's being asked to play a little bit more offensive center handler, it doesn't necessarily take away her impact, but it forces a kind of calibration for the whole line, and I think that's why we're seeing the Gridlock make some of these adjustments between who's going on O and when, content to have Connerly on for 1 point and then flip with Jezierski for the next one.
And then on another note, Mac is the team leader in defense, but we haven't seen many actually forced blocks from Red to New York. New York is making they're kind of beating themselves a little bit here. And so all Red has to do, or all New York has to do, is to be able to convert on offense, because Red isn't necessarily forcing the conversion to happen.
I could not agree more. It'll be, we'll see what both of these teams went out and talked about, and I'm sure that it was exactly those 2 points. For the Red, we know that this team has the talent to make these adjustments, so let's no longer be content for them to throw it away and capitalize. Let's go out and force some of these breaks, force some of these blocks, because then we can continue to maintain this 2-break advantage, if not extend it. For the Gridlock, it's as simple as, hey, this is a game of throwing and catching. Right now, we need to tighten up those 2 skills just a little bit. If we ratchet that up about 15%, this game is probably a lot different looking.
And the spotlight on each team is a little different. So with New York being down a couple of breaks, New York's defense has to be able to get a D and convert. Whereas Red's O-line, that's where the spotlight is on, is to be able to have clean holds, to keep steady, to be able to score on offense. So we have basically the storyline of D versus O, which obviously, but I do think that the pressure here, you're going to be able to watch who's going to be able to step up and execute in the middle of such an important game right now.
D versus O, a tale as old as time, song as old as rhyme, KK. So as our last few seconds of halftime tick down, Coach Sam and Jackie walking off as the Indy Red get ready to pull to the visiting Gridlock. And we're seeing the Connerly, Hecko, Krebs line out there for the Gridlock as the pull goes up from Mylink. Comfortably across midfield, gets a little bit of a fair bounce. Krebs doesn't want the extra couple yards. And we are in action. Red coming back with that 3-3-1 zone. Beckett giving a lot of space downfield, but having to chase number 4, Waverka, around just to make sure nothing goes off.
We're seeing a lot of zone today for having it be as little wind as we've seen.
Gridlock already doing a great job of quickly attacking some of these, trying to keep the zone moving, keep those legs pounding. Mylink has to put her head down and run to make up the space to Connerly, trying to marshal into the middle of the field. Disc is ahead to Waverka. Red firing out. Everyone picked up a person. There's a throwaway in the confusion. Lamb not quite ready. And throwaway comes from Emma Chin.
I was just about to say, Emma did such a great job chiseling through that front wall to create space. Just a mental error.
Jello doing a great job of bringing that one in despite the contest from Lamb. Kuznicki doesn't like the swing. Moves it ahead to Jello in the middle of the field. Brings it in one-handed. Has Beckett going, but Harris is step for step with her. Content to get the gainer on the bottom side, though. Sammy Phillips taking off, but Krebs shadowing. There's Jello on the high side.
Sam Harris is doing a great job this game containing Eileen Beckett out of the end zone and forcing Eileen under.
Gene Wong needs a little bit of help, finds it in Beckett, release valve downfield. And there's a big, fat block from Eddie Lamb.
Really impressive by Eddie.
And that's what you're going to get with these Gridlock players, though we are going to get an injury call from Harris walking off the field.
For a second, I thought that Jello maybe stopped rotation, but it must have just been in the nick of time.
And one of the biggest cheat codes in all of the league, you have a player go out and you get to replace them with Sadie Jazerski. It must be nice.
Let's see if Red sets back up in their zone or if they want to go immediately person.
Hecko picks up the slight gainer from Krebs, finds Connerly in the middle of the field. There's Jazerski, shadowed by Humphreys. Disc settled downfield, and Beckett's going to eat that one up. Almost gets the field goal, but not quite. Those are the points that are important in your heart, not the points that are important on the scoreboard.
New York looked like they were feeling really good about being able to run their vertical stack for a second. And I would put that deep too, but Eileen is so hard to, throw into that space
and
when she's there.
The Red, no one to help, but it looks like we're going to have a call on the far side of the field. Did Coach Nelson Byerly get that off before the throwaway? It looks like we might have.
Wow, great coaching. Indy Red, nice job.
And as we go into this timeout, we're going to take a quick break. Indy Red looking to shift an offensive line out there, up 8-6 on the Gridlock, and we'll be right back. This contest is in part sponsored by Disc Diversity, founded in 2020. Discover Diversity, creates spaces where black players can show up fully, play freely, and experience a genuine sense of belonging, especially within Ultimate Frisbee. Through intentional events and playing opportunities, we center community, leadership, and joy while celebrating the talent and resilience of black players. Our goal is to expand access, champion collaboration, and inspire the next generation of athletes. And here we are, back in action. Indy Red O-line out there. Joe Nelson Byerly with a great piece of timeout work. LG, disc on the low side of the field, Nice mark by Cassie Brown to stop that throw from Rachel Masta going off. We find Shirley Saunders. No advance up to Squid Lochran. And a pick called on the field.
It's not lost on me how similar New York is to Indy Red. They run the same offense. They run the same zone. They have similar targets deep, and they have similar handler anchors.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We're even seeing that right now. The angles that the Red want to attack are starting as we get intensified defense. And there's a throwaway there to Ronnie Shaw. These teams know what the other team wants, and it's starting to show in the way that they're approaching defense. Cassie Brown all alone. LG has to chase her down. Pressburg doesn't quite get a look to Jazierski nor Shaw on the far side of the field, but gets it ahead to Parrott. And what a cut from Pressburg to get free. It dumps it right back to Parrott. Little pitch and catch from those two great players. And a very, very important goal. And, if I might say, despite the personnel out there, only a hold as the Gridlock score to go down 7-8 to the Red. One of the important consequences of this, and I think we talk about this often, KK, is when you put your O-line out there to go secure a break for you, and then you don't do it, it almost feels to the, I wonder if it feels to the O-line like you got broken, despite the fact that you are out there to do the breaking.
Yeah, I think every time you go out there on the field, you want to score. And I don't want to say that it's, it takes the air out of the tires. I think that's the whole point of being an athlete and working on your mental game, is to not let things like that, we know that this is a game of streaks. And I think that New York has a streak in them left still here in the second half. We're going to see that. And then Red's going to have to maintain, contain, and their defense is going to have to keep up the pressure.
Absolutely.
This is not going to be an easy finish. Both teams are clawing for championship weekend.
And I agree with that as we get things started. LG moves ahead to Mass, already free. Doesn't like the deep look to Beckett. I think that's kind of rare. It's hard not to like a deep look to Beckett, but doesn't take it. LG gets the disc on the high side of the field. Reigns scoots through, pumps. Back to LG in the middle. Nice little inside to Rachel Mast. Gets the continue across to Matamore, who's all alone. No upline to Tracy Lowe. And great defense from Pressburg. There is no room. What body control from Tilo, able to fend off their defender.
12 is playing so tight on Tilo right now.
And there's a throwaway just a little bit far for Rachel Mast. A little bit slow to get up, but looking fine as she jogs back into position.
Yeah, really impressive defense from Banter Ryan on Tilo. And now we get that Tilo matchup against Banter Ryan, who's in the back of the stack right now, looking for that open side cut.
Mast not quite able to get a paw on it. Pressburg secures on the high side of the field, moves it up to Jazierski. Jazierski wondering where her offense is. There's a big old around to Krebs. And that's the kind of throw that if you're playing closer defense, you're able to go capitalize on, but Tilo content to get a mark on the Gridlock player. And there it is. Lofting. Metaleary, big target. We'll see who's able to get it. And a little bit of a tumble. Beckett goes up early and is the one to hit the ground, but
that's with the D, though. I thought Eileen had great body control. She went up and realized that she wasn't going to be able to make a play on the disc without making body contact and decided to opt out and totally bail and land on her side.
I like that throw from LG. It was almost grip locked out of her hand, but thusly able to get to only where Mast could go off and get that disc. And Tilo's going to need a little bit of help. Finally gets it in a release salve from Matamore. We're right back into offense. Lochran pumps the backhand, pumps the forehand swing, Gets it to Tilo. Banta Ryan trying to swipe at everything that goes Tilo's way. What athleticism from Pressburg and what patience from LG to stay and wait for that disc. There's Beckett shooting ahead. Loughran has to put the accelerators on, keeps her body in the way from the defender Hare, and that's a goal. 9-7, Indy Red hold.
That's the second look from Eileen to Squid. Looks like we have some nice chemistry building on Red Squad.
To something you said earlier, KK, you see the difference when players get coached on the adjustments they need to make. That time Eileen took the opportunity, squared herself up, delivered that pass, got it out in front of Squid. It wasn't shot out the back of the end zone, and Squid had plenty of time to line it up, keep her body in the way from Hare, who's an excellent defender, and just go up and attack that disc. If I'm Hare, I'm maybe considering if I want to keep stop yielding the couple extra steps, but it's really hard to defend against a throw like that.
I think you're starting to see some maybe really tighter defense from New York. I mean, Banta Ryan on Tilo was just millimeters away from a block that whole time.
The points are starting to get longer, and one of the consequences of that is players are going to start to get a little bit more tired. I'm thinking of players that used to be like almost big energy engines for the Gridlock, not present on the team anymore. Nina Finley was one of those players. So now with we have 2-line sort of set here, legs are going to start to become important. It's not necessarily air out of the tires so much as it is mileage on them. Harris back from injury to Hecko, streaking downfield. And is that inbounds? It's not just inbounds, it's in the end zone. Incredible shot, and that's a goal for the Gridlock. Marie Reverka catches the goal. Marie Reverka catches the goal. Quick, easy hold for the Gridlock, and they're back down 1.
That was a great spot. I mean, that disc was coming in hot. Lino was gaining yardage, but since the disc was zooming so fast, she wasn't able to get there in time.
I think that those are the kinds of holds that they put pressure on the opposing offense. It's a reminder like, hey, we can go out and score quickly. Don't think that you're going to get a nice long break while we fight out for another dirty hold. Quick and easy score in, 45 seconds or less. Really like 30 seconds or less, I think. Now the other team's O-line, in this case the Red, has to go right back out and kind of do it again.
There's absolutely no wind right now. The weather says high of 79, but I think it's probably closer to 85 or 90 on the turf.
Face-up defense from Harris, giving Loughran just a slightly different look from the front of the stack. LG reels in the pass, moves it up to Rachel Mast. And Matamore trying to shake free downfield does, but I don't know if the throw's going to give them an easy job. Yeah, Pressburg able to keep a shoulder on Matamore, force her out of position, get a block. I'm going to initiate offense from the sideline.
That's one of the first.
And then rewards the Red with an immediate throwaway that OIO does not work to Harris.
I was going to say that was one of the first risky throws we've seen from the Red offense.
Tilo, pump it off. Great marks from the Gridlock. The Red are often having to go to their second or third look because these first looks are just being stuffed by the on-disc defense. But there's Rains, front cone, shaken free of Pressburg, and that's a goal. Indy Red get the hold up 10-8. Dirty hold, but nonetheless, we only burnt about a minute 10 of clock. Got to feel good about that because it forces the Gridlock offense right back out there.
I think the matchups there were also leaning to Red's side. You see Cassie on LG, who has like almost half a foot. And with the height that LG has, it's really hard to defend through a body like that, So I'm 5'4", and I often get put on people who are taller than me, and even though you want to make that, reach around defensive play, you can't. Sometimes people are just taller and can't. It's harder to defend. lovingly referred to as large girl too, LG.
I think that LG has got an inch or so on me, so fully co-sign that name.
Yeah, it's hard to tell how tall the players are on the field. It's much more intimidating when you are close up down at the field and you realize that these athletes are actually quite tall and super athletic.
Big bid, bigger fake from Grace Connerly. Moves the disc to Jezierski, who's going to throw a leading pass out to Eddie Lamb. All alone. What an incredibly quick hold in response from the Gridlock. Started a little bit iffy. Connerly having to lay out to save that disc, but if we're talking about a clip, you got 2 perfect ones right there. And Jezierski gets Montenegro moved low inside. I love the way that she sets her feet up. They're less of a kind of straight across into that backhand and more of a like, I'm sealing you off with this backhand so I can float it out to space. And Eddie Lamb reprising a little bit more of a downfield role, able to go up and secure that one easily.
Still got that 2-point diff. New York looking to bust through with a break.
Yeah, we look out at the New York line. Pressburg, Jezierski, Cassie Brown, Banta Ryan. Nikki Hare really kind of seeking this first big break opportunity. We'll see how they continue to kind of mutate these lines as the game goes on. Pressburg doing a lot of playing both ways.
With 3 minutes left in the third quarter, every defensive point is becoming more and more critical.
Loughran takes off, but Pressburg picks them up from the back of the stack. Great communication to make sure that no one goes free, but Loughran gets a huge gainer. See if anybody takes off. Mattermore doesn't, actually cuts back inside, but runs into a little bit of traffic with Champ.
Yeah,
and
several double cuts happening all at the same time. Offense needed to clean that up.
And Pressburg, a little bit of a bump there, but had already blocked and able to slow down. Just poaching off and able to stop Champ from picking up that gainer. I like the looks from Red, but as the Gridlock are starting to play a little bit more switchy, it'll be important to pay attention to who's free and who just looks like they're free.
Yeah, New York happy to poach off in the lane.
What a great inside flick from Brown, but that one from Pressburg is a little bit low. Jezierski going to the knee and not able to reel that one in. Observer gets the disc back into play nice and quick, and Tilo does not rip. Throws low herself, but secured by Rachel Mast. Tilo's going to have to buy her some french fries for that one.
You think Tilo owes Rachel a whole bucket full of french fries?
You know, that's for the two of them to figure out. And I like Champ sizing up, but Jezierski, again, putting that backhand force on quickly and takes that one away from Brown, who had a whole hand on it, and LG moves it ahead to Squid Loughran. It didn't look pretty, but it was fun to watch. Indy Red get the hold and are up 11-9 on the Gridlock. Just a little over a minute and a half to play.
Squid showing up to be an end zone shark this game.
Squid's got a nose for the end zone, or a beak for the end zone, rather, if we're talking about squids. The thing I'm really impressed with, though, is the way that the Red are responding to the increased defensive pressure from the Gridlock. The marks are getting tighter, the shadows are getting smaller, and it's very in-your-pocket defense. A lot of those gainers are still there, but the comfort window to make that catch is going away. I think it's especially showing in the backfield, KK. You've got Mattermore having to turn all the way over her far shoulder and chase that swing pass around just to secure it. And I think that you're starting to see these players show the effects of a tightly defended contest and a game with a lot on the line. Pull goes up from Mylink. Indy Red starting to match Jezierski with some of these pulls and putting them out to some of these soft spots a little bit further downfield. Indy Red settling into their zone. Humphreys, Mylink, and Jello setting that 3-3-1 zone. Beckett having to chase Harris around in that monster space.
Only a minute half left in this quarter.
So
New York probably looking to be as chilly as possible.
Incredible work there in the middle space from Lamb to secure the pass, and Gridlock able to go 1, 2, 3, 4 immediately and are in an end zone set. But there's a pick call. Looks like it's going to send the disc back to Harris if my link is correct in ordering things.
The thing about the zone is it can create a lot of passes for the offense if you're set up correctly. But if they're able to chisel through the holes, then this zone is not the look for maintaining clock, because red wants to try to get a turn as quick as possible. Usually zone is used for to force a lot of throws and a lot of time to score.
And we see the shift into person from the red, and it's Hecko, Krebs, Hecko, despite layout pressure from Mylink, and that is a hold for the New York Gridlock.
Really critical to score here before the end of this quarter in order to maintain that 2-point lead.
With that hold, we're going to take a quick break. Indy Red up 1 on the Gridlock with just under a minute remaining. We're going to take a quick break here. Indy Red up 11-10 on the Gridlock after that quick hold. We'll be right back. If you are enjoying today's stream, please consider donating at indyred.org or by scanning the QR code. Indy Red is a 501c3, and all donations go towards player pay and travel costs. Continue the fire at Wildfire Tap, the ultimate spot for great food, competitive pinball, Sunday jazz night, and Tuesday open mic. Check out more events on Wildfire's IG. And we're back. 55 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Gridlock pull right into the hands of Tilo, and ahead to LG. Does not take the easy continue up to Reigns, which gives the Gridlock an opportunity to settle into their defense. There's Mac. A lot of pressure in this contest between Pressburg and Matamore. Rachel Mast doesn't quite have to dig that one out, but gets nice and low for it. Moves it ahead to Matamore. We've got a pick call, stopping offense. Stahl's going to come back in on 4.
No change-ups.
And Mast wanted to go downfield, and Matamore wanted the swing, and that's going to give the Gridlock the first of 2 needed break opportunities.
We go from vertical stack for red to vertical stack to New York. Who's going to play the chilliest here at the end of this quarter? Really tight windows to work through. Forces a high release flick.
If I'm Cassie Brown, I almost want to hold that for 5 seconds, but it's okay because with that one, the Gridlock are going to get to play this final possession out. And if we're talking about the same things from Coach Sam, we're 1 for 3 on end of quarter management for the red now. So the Gridlock vertical stack a little bit tight to Tilo. We'll see them shift it back downfield. Harris cuts across field away from Lochran, but the
hand block. Oh, by Rachel Mast. Critical timing for Mast to show up and show out on defense.
Super, super important that they got that. But it's going to be our closest end of, as we see Mast line it up and just not even looking back yet. I think almost like automatically shifts over and gets her hand on that disc from Sadie. So here between quarters, we're going to take a quick timeout. Indy Red holding a 1-goal advantage over the New York Gridlock. We'll be back with you at the top of the 4th. Today's stream is brought to you by Discraft. The Discraft Ultra Star is the official disc of the Premier Ultimate League. Discraft, the world leader in disc sports. Thank you to Pin Vault Indy, Indy's original pinball place. Open to public first Friday and third Saturday. Bookable for your next private party. More info at pinvaultindy.com. Big Brothers Big Sisters of Central Indiana strives to create and support mentoring relationships that ignite the power and promise of kids in our community. Every young person is looking for someone to listen to them, encourage them, and stand by their side. With hundreds of kids in Central Indiana waiting for a mentor, you have what it takes to support a young person by hanging out with them twice a month, and Big Brothers Big Sisters will be there to help you along the way. Visit BeBigForKids.org to learn more and take the first step today.
Help you along the way. Visit
And we are back.
BeBigForKids.org to learn more.
Win
Take the first
and
step
you're
today.
in, lose, and it's a long road back to your home in this contest between the visiting New York Gridlock and the home team Indy Red. Both of these teams, championship aspirations. Indy Red trying to deliver on a prediction by Ultiworld's Keith Rayner that they would go not just to the championship, but win it this year. Gridlock trying to prove Keith wrong. Currently down 1, but most importantly, still down 2 breaks and having to pull to the Indy Red offense, who came up with a huge hand block at the end of the third quarter, courtesy of your own Rachel Mast.
And if you can remember, Red played against New York in the semis last year at championship weekend. And Red, unfortunately, I think just the air got taken out of the tires pretty about halfway through the game, and they weren't able to catch up. So there's revenge. This is Revenge Tour 2026.
And we're already seeing a slight adjustment in marking scheme on the sideline. Red forced all the way back to their own end zone before finally getting a little bit of breathing room. These sharp marks kind of forcing back to the middle from the Gridlock. Champ moves it ahead to LG. LG does not take the Tilo to Squid, but moves it ahead to Rachel Mast. Tilo's free up line, gets it. We see Matamore take off. Tilo doesn't like it, though. Great pressure from Pressburg all game forces Tilo to reconsider. And that's excellent cutting from Rachel Mast and gets LG all alone. Don't know what line LG was towing, but she secures it. That's a very important hold to get us started at the top of the fourth. Indy Red 12-10 over the Gridlock.
I saw Ronnie Shaw on the Mast matchup, which is tough to stop that open side cut from Rachel, the 2025 Pody Player of the Year.
So, it's quarter 4. You are coaches Brittany Taylor and Jenny DeJesus. What are you 11 minutes separate you and either the continuation of or end of your season. What are you telling the Gridlock right now?
I would shoot it. I mean, I would be, this is time to start, it's now or never. So you have to be taking higher risk, higher rewards towards the end of the game. And I mean, the score is close enough where if they get that one block, then they're back within 1.
I think I have to agree with you there. Might as well, no time like the present to start taking shots, and you've got the personnel. Krebs and Connerly play a little bit of reset, throw and catch up to Lamb. I like the attack from Lamb to make sure that they get that disc right there. Harris gets it through the challenge from Lexi Thomas. And Krebs streaking up line, and I wondered when we were going to start seeing a little bit more of the Krebs cycle, and we might be getting it now. There it is, front cone, Abby Hecko. Used to doing that with bent teammate Ella Youngst, but that's a goal and a very quick and needed one for the Gridlock. Just down 1 to the Indy Red.
New York looking for that really important break point. We have such a good game right now. Anything could happen.
I'm having such a great time. This is the kind of game you want in this kind of a situation. It's, let's fend one team, fought so hard to get a lead, and now is not only fighting to defend it, but trying to extend it whenever possible. And the other team, not quite able to find that foothold yet to dig into that. We're going to see what happens, what kind of coaching, Jenny DeJesus and BT are giving to this New York D-line. We've got Krebs, we've got Nikki Hare, we've got Pressburg out there playing a ton of points. Again, Pressburg, you got to wonder if they might be the best conditioned player in this game playing two ways as much as they are.
Yeah, same thing with Jolie, too. I mean, you see Jolie playing both ways as well.
Jolie with a fierce mark forces Champ into the reset space. There's Mass coming across, but a quick little left hand from Krebs takes that away. Tilo gets the high release blade from Champ. Champ gets it right back in the middle of the field. There's Squid keeping a lot of space between herself and Metaliri. And way to hold on to that one, Rachel Mast, instead of letting that go to Champ. Tilo shakes free of Banta Ryan.
Really nice to have a lefty in the handler space right about now when they're clamping down on that break side throw.
Champ needed to continue but didn't get one. But finally gets the release valve. Shirley Saunders shakes free of Jolie Krebs. Very important hold for the Indy Red as they go back up 13-11 on the New York Gridlock.
Shirley Saunders, not the flashiest player out there, but certainly very steady pace, but can turn on the jets when needed.
100%. Shirley Saunders is like Lexi Hull. Like, no, you're not our star. You're not even our second or third star. But, like, you can tell when Lexi Hull is, like, hitting threes and playing great defense. You know when Shirley Saunders is out here, like, racking in goals, playing tight defense because your team just feels more cohesive. She's the kind of, like, unsung hero of your O-line if you're the Indy Red.
Yeah, she's glue. She's gel for the O-line.
She's not Jell-O, though, because she's on the D-line. Correct.
But I think that you need those players so that you have people who have chemistry from hybrid, and you can let them shine. I think that's really important for someone to be able to become a role player. It can be tough on the ego, but I think that that just really shows team cohesion when you have people who are there to support other players to make plays.
Well, and speaking of Jell-O, Indy Red getting their zone set again. And what Grace Connerly is trying to beat this zone by herself, and so far she's succeeding. Trying to go every other all the way up the field, and Eddie finally doesn't reward her efforts. But New York up to Shaw. Is that one going to stay in bounds? Not if Eileen has anything to say about it. I almost wonder if Eileen shouldn't have touched it there. It might have gone out of bounds about 5 yards early.
It's true, but you want to make sure.
You want to make sure.
Yeah.
It's better to be safe than sorry,
and
if it means you're in the coffin corner.
I think that she thought about that, too. She's like, do I touch it? And just doinked it down anyway.
What a throw, and I think maybe even batted slightly by Krebs the way it floated away. Low throw from Jean, dug out by Rachel Graber, but nothing coming for her. She's going to need Jean to reset. Gets it. Another layout. Eventually, Jean and Rachel will make it easy on the other.
I know. I'm starting to get a little stressed out by the handler movement, but it looks like we worked it upfield out of the danger zone.
Mylink back to Wong, to Graber in the middle of the field. Had Sammy Phillips, but fierce mark, not able to get anything off. And there's what you want, Eileen. Skying goal in the deep space. No one bigger than Eileen Beckett. What an incredible grab and a break for the Indy Red.
New York is a little stunned right now.
What do you do when a team breaks you with a play like that? The energy is entirely in the Reds' direction now.
Eileen has been cutting deep for that throw all game long. Finally was able to reel it in. I mean, you saw that vertical.
And as we get a look at this, the throw goes up. The stakes are high in this game, but Eileen Beckett jumps higher, reels that in, controls the landing, and that's a huge break for the Indy Red. And to her massive credit, the energy spike you get off something like that is so big. I love Sam's decision to keep Eileen out there for another one. Let her go while the adrenaline's pumping. Let her go get another block.
I'm starting to see some body language from New York to slow down. They're a little bit more slumped. They're going to have to find that mental strength to pick themselves back up and keep themselves in it because it is still a close game. It's reachable.
Big pull into the hands of Cassie Brown. Pressburg in the middle of the field as they get started. I actually think that in this situation, Cassie Brown is one of the players you want to look to. She's got such good experience. She knows how to play in big moments. both how to win a game where you're in control and a game where you're coming from behind. So we'll see how she and Sadie Marshall in the backfield. Up ahead to Shaw, back to Brown on the high side.
I wouldn't be surprised if Sadie is going to take control here, look in the end zone, try to punch it in as quick as possible.
Nice blade.
Perfectly put.
All alone to Parrott. Shaw in the middle of the field. Goes to Harris. We hear the fire call, but it doesn't matter. Parrott able to reel that one in from Harris, and that's a quick hold for the Gridlock. Now down 14-12.
Sadie finally able to kind of recalibrate that blade throw to hit her target.
Great throwers are going to make those adjustments over the course of a game. As we see Sadie move just to marshal the defense a little bit out of the way, and then it's just Shaw, Harris, Parrott, and I love the very subtle little shoulder through, not quite a swim move, but shoulder her way in front of the defender for Parrott to get to that front cone.
I also understand the call, the fire to go out of the zone and go person to try to stop the threat, but at that point in time, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it's best to try to stay in the zone to contain, or do you think that it's important to fire out because they were punching it through the holes pretty easily?
They were punching it through the holes pretty easily, and I think the fear there is that you're going to miss somebody, someone's going to break free, but there is that moment of confusion, like, you know, as we get this kind of time, as we get this time out from New York, there's a moment of confusion where you have like 2 to 4 seconds of stall where players are just trying to pick up, and I think that New York did a great job of capitalizing on that. We're going to take a quick timeout here. Indy Red 14-12 over the visiting Gridlock. Just a little over 7 minutes left in this win or go home contest. We'll be right back. This live broadcast is brought to you by the Premier Ultimate League. The PUL is a 501c6 nonprofit. This league has been community funded since day one, and we are so grateful for the support. We ask that you consider donating to help us continue to transform and fulfill our mission. Head to premierultimateleague.com to donate today. This live broadcast of the Premier Ultimate League is brought to you by Breakmark Ultimate Apparel. Go to breakmark.com to place your next custom team order or check out the PUL Athlete Collab shops. And we are back. 7:17 left. Indy Red leading 14-12 over the New York Gridlock. There's been a lot to talk about in this game. Most importantly has been the importance of getting your breaks and holding on to them. The Indy Red got a 2-break advantage. The Gridlock erased it, got back on serve. The Indy Red then Indy slowly builds it back up, gets their 2-break advantage, and now has held it for a quarter and almost a half. And not only that, but extended it to a 3-break lead. If I'm the Indy Red, I'm looking for one more, I think, just to be sure.
I would not be comfortable if I was Red. Not at all.
I think all of the fastest holds in this game belong to the Gridlock, so that you know that they can get them quick. And there's a turnover from the Red.
And Jolie immediately puts her hands up to kind of remind the team to be steady, take a breath.
And I love that throw, but it's going to go a little far. Cassie Brown is inches from getting that. Injury called. I love the level of effort from Cassie Brown there. Truly, she was about 3 inches away from making that grab. But
landed right on her shoulder.
A hero's effort is rewarded with an injury call, and we're going to get a substitution here. That's Mari Malin coming in. Doesn't look like we have any substitutions for the Red because the O-line's out there and you're back on offense. Rachel Mass trying to shake free of Sadie, but Sadie's fierce. That throw is high from Tilo, but Squid has plenty of time, plenty of room to keep her toes in.
Really smart to keep that in bounds, especially since you have the cones over there on the sideline. It's easy to kind of get tripped up.
I think Mari Malin got a hand on that, and I think Sadie almost had a hand on that one. Tilo not quite in the end zone. Rachel Mass, pitch and catch. Little front cone action, and Sadie is got nothing but respect for Rachel Mass off of that goal.
Those tight windows, like I said before, they're so hard to guard, especially if you have handlers who are just throwing it zippy right into the chest. You have to be perfect positioning or willing to sell out for a full, horizontal layout bid. But the time, it's so hard to time your defense when those quick throws are happening because they happen in less than a second. It's like half a second with that disc, and your brain has to calibrate, am I going to bid for this? And you just, before you know it, it's in the end zone.
Blink and you'll miss it kind of offense, and well rewarded, our Rachel Mast efforts picking up that goal despite the incredible pressure from Sadie Jazerski.
I do think we see Rachel showing up and showing out, proving, holding in, tightly that player of the year stamp. I mean, she is really showing up for this game today.
It's hard to know who to give the game disc to, but Sadie's made a really strong point for herself, and I think that we're starting to feel a little bit more Rachel Mast having a stronger campaign in the second half. And I want to continue crediting this. Indy Red have slowly but surely calibrated their pulls to have a little bit more distance over the game. Huge rip. Grace Connerly. Krebs is down there and jumps a little early. And
with the pressure from Annie, too, to kind of force Jolie to jump early, to go up early for that.
And I've seen Jolie pull down some huge sky balls,
yeah,
but
absolutely.
I think that they're, either hoping she had some help or hoping there would be a second attempt, but good, Beckett there to clean up on the backside as well. And now we see Beckett working on the inside. There's a swing over to Humphreys. Advances it up the field to Jello. No one quite ready in the deep space for it. Has Jean. We move to Tilden in the middle of the field. Jean Wong has Beckett downfield, doesn't take it. That throw is going to be down to Jello, just a little bit low.
Red, with that break chance opportunity, weren't able to capitalize it, but it would be really nice to get that in to feel more comfortable. And I think New York is probably looking to send it deep early and often.
And they are making Cassie Brown throw her body around right now. And Humphreys, not normally a deep target for the Red, but gets all the distance in the world, and the Red say, no, we're going to take our time. And you know what? I like that decision. And a timeout taken. So the disc is actually going to go back to Kuznicki. Got it off just before she threw it back to Wong.
We're in a critical moment in the game where Red is going to have an opportunity to put their O-line back on and get this break. New York is hopefully, probably going to put on their best line, right?
Best line or freshest line, KK?
I would put on my best line.
They might not have the luxury of putting on their best line. It looks like the players out there circled up are the players who just were off the field.
Yeah.
So we see Brown marching back in, ready to keep working. What an incredible workhorse for the Gridlock team. So we see Harris, we see Pressburg, we see Shaw, Brown, Parrott, Sadie, all still out there for the Gridlock. Indy Red's going to go wholesale, put the offense in. LG starting on the disc. Tilo offset in the backfield. First move from Matamore. Do you think it's going to be down towards the disc or upfield? There it is.
That play where the top of the stack streaks deep is really important to open up that next cut to come in for that reset. So I think you see that cut almost every time.
Love the mark break there, but Tilo has to get big for it. Oh, great from Shaw to sense that was coming back. You talk about knowing your opponent. Knew that Tilo was going to take that little jump cut back and just stayed in the way.
Tilo running the offense right now pretty easily.
What a dig. Champ Reigns moves it ahead, and that's a goal for Rachel Mast. That is the break the Red were looking for.
Sheesh.
Sheesh is absolutely right. 16-12 Indy Red over the New York Gridlock, and the Red playing like they can sniff championship weekend.
Champ was going to do anything she could to make sure that she maintained possession. I mean, you could tell that she probably didn't have to lay out for that, but she was so locked in. She was like, this is going to go right into my hands. I know exactly what body motion I'm going to do. I'm going to stand up and I'm going to throw a break throw.
It's that high level, we talk about players who've been here before. It's the difference between saying, I think I have to bid for this versus I'm going to bid for this because it increases my chances of making this catch safely.
Yeah, sometimes you have more confidence if your feet aren't in the way.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm tired. I hate when my feet and legs get in the way of
Me
my
too.
catching.
Yeah.
So we said Red probably need one more break. If the fastest goals that the Gridlock have been able to put in still take about 20 to 30 seconds, and the time the pull goes up, is that one's going to go out of bounds, one of our first out-of-bounds pulls of the game, which is going to give the Red a chance to set their defense, which is hugely important. Connerly upset that a disc had to be run to her, and then the observer didn't give it to her. If I'm Connerly, I think I'm rightfully upset about that.
For sure. Yeah, a little confused. Everyone's always learning. We have to remember to give our observers some grace. Thank you for your time, your volunteering.
And we talk about the speed with which you can score. That took just over 35 seconds for the Gridlock to punch in. They're going to creep it back to 16-13. But they're going to need 4 breaks to reclaim the lead from the Red. Red offense trotting back out there, ready to go handle business as usual. When we're talking about throw shape and how important it is, I like the attack with the Oyo throws that the Gridlock are making pretty heavy usage of, as opposed to some of the standard inside looks. They're coming out faster, but you can tell that they're maybe a little bit more nervous because of some of the throwaways they've had over this game. They're a little bit nervous to let some of those go because those throws are sailing just a little high.
New York on defense, hunting for their break.
You got to wonder if Sadie at this point has given them the Jimmy Mickle we're playing for our effing lives out here.
Yeah.
She gets her line motivated to go get a block, and we see no more messing around. Jezierski, Krebs, Pressburg, all out there. Banta Ryan, throw's going to go out. They're going to try to trap the Red on the sideline where they've been really, really effective.
And with only 3 minutes left to go, that's a break per minute. That's got to be tough, but you have to stay present as an athlete. And
Tilo, excellent clock management. Takes the dump back to LG. No mark on. Champ trying to string free. Gets there. Krebs stops anything upfield from going off, so we have to dump back to LG. Panta Ryan is
fighting for her life. I mean, honestly, I would be too. You're trying to get the D, and Tilo's doing a great job at absorbing that body contact.
And Shirley floats it out, and there's Squid Lochran gets the hold.
Squid wasn't even looking for that, and Shirley was like, too bad.
Yeah, Shirley threw to space, and Squid said, oh, I can run there. Easy enough. Red 17-13 over the Gridlock. We're going to get another look at that one here in just a second. Tilo, we just see the careful, patient offense from the Red. If we're swinging out to space, we're putting the disc where defenders have no plays on it, and you're absolutely right. Shirley said, look at all of this land. I'm just going to throw the disc here and trust my receiver to go get it.
I'm afraid to even say anything. 2.5 minutes left. Up 3 for Red. What are you telling? Like, how are you up 4? Sorry, excuse me. What are you doing to stay locked in, present, not letting things get to you?
You say it's ours. You say, I'm not content to just let this ride out. I'm going to go and take it. If I'm the D-line for the Red, I'm looking for another one. Why, 1 break, 2 break, 3 break, 4, why not go get 5?
Annie just rips it as far as she can.
Connerly up to Sadie, who's going to have plenty of time and plenty of space to just get underneath that one, but doesn't have any help.
This is exactly what New York has to do. They have to look it deep. I'm not exactly sure why Red, kind of forced under the way that they did. At this point, it's like you just want to hang out in the end zone, make sure no one scores at this point, because New York, we know they're going to be looking deep.
Yeah, and that point took about 10 to 15 seconds, if that.
They just got to do that three more times.
That might have been less than the length of a stall count. That's done properly. The red defense, if we're talking about adjustments the team can make, the letting off to stop downfield threats, let Connerly come from the backfield space. All she did was wait it out, watch the defender shift ahead of her, and then prance up, take the, oh, here I go, I just scoot into this space and catch the little flip from Jezierski. That's the kind of patience that you're looking for. Now you've got to do it 4 more times over the next 2 minutes and 10 seconds. And we're starting to see more of the strategy. The red doing their best to stop the disc, and thanks to Jackie Lai, who's there to just get that disc back into play. No nonsense about getting play started, but that's a little bit low for Squid. And what excellent adjustments downfield. The Gridlock are stopping anything from going off. Great body there from Squid. I think Harris could have made a pick call there to get back to it, but likes to keep play moving.
Still in their standard vertical, but it looks like we're getting a couple double cuts, and it's all handler movement here.
Tilo up the line to LG. Champ not quite in. And is that blocked? It is. Might have been hand blocked, but Tilo gets it blocked out of bounds, and the Gridlock are going to get their first opportunity, and we're inside of the last 2 minutes. So the clock is stopped. Won't continue until the Gridlock have the disc back in play. Yeah, Roddy Shaw with that block there. Huge swing. Pressburg to Harris. Harris is all alone. Has a player downfield, but moves it to Shaw.
Giving it to Jezierski, who Squid read that perfectly. Jezierski, unfortunately, didn't go to the disc, was maybe thinking about what she was going to be doing with the disc.
I wonder if that was the combination of Shaw not hitting it when Jezierski was open, and Jezierski hitting that weird window of, I need to move out of this space now. It's time to start clearing. But that's when the throw goes off, so she can't re-accelerate. And Squid able to just continue motion and get through. I
think that defense all but seals it for Red, honestly, even though we have a turnover here. Yep. But, I mean, that took so much time off the clock with only 34 seconds left to go.
Timeout's called. New York is going to put an offensive line on, see what they can get done with the last 34 seconds of the game. The Red offense has done what it really needed to do on this point, which was just burn clock.
Absolutely.
That possession from when the Gridlock checked it in at 1:20 to the Red turning the disc over here, ate up about 50 seconds of play. And now we're in a position where even if they scored every point at their absolute fastest pace, it's going to be really tough for the Gridlock to just score enough to win this game. Doesn't mean it's impossible. The Red are going to probably need one stop just to seal the deal.
What an incredible show out from Red. I mean, this is a decentralized team where so many of their players are traveling into Indianapolis to play together. And so it takes all season to build chemistry, to gel. And so their growth percentage is, I would say, arguably much higher than many other teams who get to practice together more regularly.
Beckett already sniffing what's coming, adjusting for the earlier maybe challenge, and just sits deep so that even as Sadie starts to leak deep, there's nowhere where that disc can go where Eileen Beckett won't also be. And I like Eileen continuing to stay deep. I think that's absolutely the right call. Force them to work it up. Force them to burn their own clock as Krebs gets it. Swings to Jezierski in the middle.
A push pass from Jolie.
And there's a high little blade, and it's blocked. And I think that's going to do it, folks. The Indy Red need to play possession ball for 11 seconds.
And a block by Sammy Phillips to seal the deal.
We haven't, I think, said Sammy's name once this game, and she comes up in the most critical moment. Luke Cornett's chase down yesterday.
We just need one pass, basically. Yep, and Jello can hold it.
Well, that's a turn.
I mean, pretty much storyline of the season, right?
Yeah. So the Gridlock are going to get the goal there. 17-15, just off the hands of Berkeley Humphreys, and I'm sure that she's going to kick herself. She's going to want that one because then you can just hold possession out. But the red O-line's going to trot out for one more, and all they need to do is catch the pull, and this game is over. KK, I don't want to say it too early, but I think that the red did what they need to do. I think we might be going to championship weekend.
I think so too. With 1 second left, I don't think there's a chance for New York to get a couple breaks. What an incredible season for Red to be able to make it back to championship weekend 2 years in a row, knocking out the team that beat them in semis last year.
I could not agree more. Everything lines up for this team, and they get the players to show up. They go out and they execute their game plan, and more importantly, they kind of exercise some of the demons that really haunted them previously, like end of quarter management, not going out and converting break opportunities. This was really a chance for them to kind of say, like, let's just check these things off our list. Pull lands, Tila throws to LG, and that's the game. The Reds still get to play this possession out, which is fun, so we'll see if they use this as an opportunity for growth and see if they can score. Rachel Mast on the high side of the field. Mattamore still shadowed by Pressburg, who's, I think, showing some of the wear and tear, but what an incredible fight from Pressburg all game, because that is one of the least fun matchups in the entire league, and to play that for the entire game is tough. But there it is. That's going to be the dagger. Shirley Saunders.
Oh, wow. What a way to end the game. New York still having to play defense when they knew that the game wasn't theirs. And this is what happens when you lack the mental focus and energy.
And if we wrote the game in 18-point font, Shirley Saunders slapped a 24-point exclamation point on there. That is an incredible way to end this game. Indy Red 18, New York Gridlock 15, and KK, the story of the game was the Red got the breaks they needed, they gave them back, they learned from it, and then when they started earning those breaks again, they never yielded them back to the Gridlock.
Yep, they got it early. They were able to maintain. O-line did a great job staying steady and clear and focused. So, I mean, but also hats off to New York, who has to travel a long way and put up in a really good fight. And it's back to the drawing board for New York.
Mm-hmm. Next week, we'll see you as the Indy Red take on the Atlanta Soul here in Indy. But that is a victory for the Indy Red and likely a punched ticket to championship weekend. Indy Red hold off the New York Gridlock 18-15. We'll see you next time.